Hey everyone, Nate Carter here with today's Cornerstone Connection Daily Devotional. And today I want to talk about those times when you are unfairly treated. And we've all been in those situations, and perhaps you've been in a situation where you've been greatly mistreated. Let's dig into the text first, and then I want to share a story where that happened to me recently. So we are in 2 Samuel chapter 16. We're going through the story of David in the Old Testament. And starting with verse 5, as King David came to Bahurim, a man came out of the village cursing them. It was Shimei, son of Gera, from the same clan as Saul's family. He threw stones at the king and the king's officers and all the mighty warriors who surrounded him. Now, you got to stop at the word stones there, because this wasn't someone picking up handfuls of gravel and throwing it at him, where it'd be just kind of annoying and maybe a little bit hurt. But this is like rocks. Like, this guy's picking up rocks and throwing them at David and his men. They're having to kind of duck for their life, or possibly be majorly injured or even killed by these rocks, these stones. Verse 7. "Get out of here, you murderer, you scoundrel," he shouted at David. "The Lord is paying you back for all the bloodshed in Saul's clan. You stole his throne, and now the Lord has given it to your son Absalom. At last you will taste some of your own medicine, for you are a murderer." Okay, well, it is true. David is a murderer, but this is not the murder that he's referring to. And David did not steal the throne, and Absalom actually is the one who stole the throne from his father, right? So this is just covered in lies from this guy Shimei. Verse 9, "Why should this dead dog curse my lord the king?" Abishai, son of Zeruiah, demanded. "Let me go over and cut off his head." I feel like, maybe you're like that, or maybe you know somebody like that. It's just kind of rash. Like, let's just off him. And David's got to be feeling severely wronged here. And so how does David reply? "No," the king said. "Who asked your opinion, you sons of Zeruiah?" He actually puts Abishai in his place here. "Who asked you?" He says, "If the Lord has told him to curse me, who are you to stop him?" And this is where I want to stop for today, and you should read the rest of the chapter here. But David is being unfairly treated. This man is cursing him, throwing rocks at him. I mean, this is terrible. It's completely unfair. I am part of a group that puts on a gathering for worship leaders around our denomination, and we had our gathering last October, and at the end of the gathering, we always do a survey. And so everyone there fills out the survey, what they liked, what they didn't like, what could be better, etc. And so my team got together to look at the survey results. And the first person that we came to, because his last name started with the letter A, was just completely cutting. I mean, it was so harsh. It was beyond the scope of anything we've ever received, let alone anything we'd received that year. And it was disheartening to read that one first and kind of get like this, boy, is this going to set the tone? Did we really miss the mark this year? Was this thing terrible? And so we disciplined ourselves to read through the harsh feedback, and then we read the others, and overwhelmingly the response was kind, and any criticism was constructive. But this first one was really harsh, and I'll be honest with you, it bothered me for months. I mean, I really had to kind of contend with it. And what I realized was, part of what I had to contend with was that even though the way it was worded was really kind of mean, there was some truth in it. There were some things we could have done better. There were some places that we were sloppy. There were some places where we weren't probably trying our best. And what this person had brought up was not done in a kind way, but was probably something that we needed to learn from. So this is what David is saying in verse 19. He says, "If the Lord has told him to curse me, who are you to stop him?" So David's probably going, you know what, this is awful, but maybe I need to be listening to what this man has to say to me. Maybe there's some truth in it. I had a pastor once who I believe was quoting another author, but he said, "When someone criticizes you, look for the kernel of truth." And so I want to encourage you today to look for the kernel of truth in any critique you receive. Maybe you'll receive it today. Maybe it's something you're kind of dealing with, like I did with that survey result, kind of mulling it over for months at a time. And you need to find perhaps the reason it's bothering me is because there's a little bit of truth in it. I'll tell you what, we took this survey result and we took notes from it. One of the other members of my team reached out to this person and asked for some clarification. Turns out the guy that wrote the scathing review kind of apologized and said I was probably too reactive and I should have taken a breath before I wrote that. But we actually took his comments to heart and made some significant changes such that this year, as we're going into our gathering, I'm really looking forward to it. I think we've made it better. We found the kernel of truth from someone who was cutting us down. That's what we need to look for whenever we receive critique from others. So I encourage you to do that today. We'll see you next time on the Cornerstone Connection.